Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? I hope you are having a fantastic day. How's everybody doing today? I see a lot of people in the comment section. Did you know that YouTube just added a new feature where if you click on the heart or the confetti icon on the bottom of the comment channel, like I can see that. So press those. I want to see the confettis popping. Hello, Addie. Hi, Cal. Hi, HBVCK566. That was a long nickname, but I'm really glad you're here. Hi, DevSeb. I'm super excited that you guys are all here. Press those heart buttons. And today I have with me some guests. I have Mingus, who's our technical community manager, and Weston, who's our physics expert, and he will demo to you guys the new physics features that is coming on 2.7. Woot woot! Hi, World of Jom says hi. Hello, everyone. How are you guys all doing today? What time is it where you're joining from? And where are you joining from? I want to know. Weston, did you do anything fun over the weekends? I know it's already Wednesday. Time flies.
Time does fly. I don't. I just moved, so that was kind of fun, I guess. But mostly very tiring.
I can definitely understand. I used to move a lot, um, and I just got so sick of moving that I threw away all my stuff, and I was a minimalist for a while. But now that I have a pretty long lease, I've just decided to. I've been accumulating stuff again, but I honestly need to go back to that period. Okay. Without further ado, let me share Weston's screen and he can tell us the new exciting updates that's coming in 2.7. Okay, Weston, you have a screen.
Awesome, cool. Thank you, Celine. So the first thing we want to talk about today is our new physics nodes. So we added rigid bodies and colliders to Effect House, and you guys made some really cool effects, and we want to expand upon that. We want to see what else you can make with more versatile tools. So today I'll be talking about the new with the you can use the set to pin to graph and apply a force. But now we've put that into a force controller node, which should make this process a lot easier and more versatile. The acceleration controller node applies a continuous acceleration to a specific rigid body component. So this could be helpful for making a mini game where a car goes faster and faster and faster, for example. So there's a lot of diverse use cases for the acceleration controller. Apply impulse, this is my favorite node. It allows you to apply an instantaneous force to a specified rigid body component. So you can see on the left-hand side here, when I click the screen, the ball flies up. It's because I'm applying a instantaneous force. So the difference between applying a force over time with the force controller node and applying an impulse is that an impulse is applied once and a continuous force is applied over a period of time. It's a continuous force. It's like you're pushing on something versus punching it. The last node for the rigid body components is this physics info node, which offers a centralized way to access information about a rigid body's current physics state. So this is really helpful to get information like speed, velocity. You can imagine making a mini game where if the creator, or excuse me, the video creator gets over a certain speed or velocity, then they win the game or something happens, or I don't know. There's a lot of interesting use cases here, and this takes an rigid body component. Next, collision detection. I think this is going to be the most exciting section for physics because it makes collision detection really, really easy for 3D physics objects. So we have a new collision event node. This event node has three types: on enter, stay, and on exit. It will detect the collision events between rigid body components and outputs relevant information through the collision info node. So here it takes in a collision component, and then in the outputs, it outputs into a collision info array. Note that you'll need to use the get in item from array node to actually read the information from the collision event. And once you get the item from the array, you can use it in the collision info node, which will give you a large variety of data, like if it's collided, the point at which it's collided, the collision normal, and the relative velocity of the collision. Possibly the most advanced feature we have in Effect House, that's raycasting. It allows you to cast a ray in 3D space in Effect House. This is useful for so many applications, but it's a little complicated, so we'll try to break it down for you today. So a raycast performs a 3D, basically it draws a line in 3D space from one point to another point. It has an origin, a direction, and a length. It allows you to detect intersection with colliders and get information like if the ray is hit. You can also get information using the ray hit info, which is similar to the collision hit info node, where you have to use get item from array, and you can get a lot of information with the ray hit info node. It gives you the object, the scene object, the collider, the hit point, the hit normal, the hit distance, and the rigid body component if one exists. And we have one more thing. I'm really excited because you've been making some really, really cool and complex physics effects. So we added the ability to add multiple colliders onto a single rigid body. This is really, really helpful for making things like rings or more complex body dynamic effects. So here you can see I've used a series of sphere colliders to create this ring. This was one of our test cases here. That's all for today's physics nodes, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and I can't wait to see what you guys make.
Woo-woo. Fantastic. Thank you, Weston. The chat is popping off. Brett says, I wanted this in all caps so
Selena,
hard.
you coming back,
Addie
or is it me
says,
now?
finally, raycasting. OMG. Kel says, hallelujah, raycasting. DevSep says,
Okay,
Steve
I'm gonna
Jobs
be
moment.
transparent. I can't hear Celine. I think only Weston can hear both of us. Weston, is it my turn to go?
Sorry, today the internet in the TikTok office is not that strong. I think it's kind of funny considering that we are a social media company. They should invest in better Wi-Fi. I think this is just a testament to that. But oh, Bruno's here as well. Hello. We just went over the new physics nodes. We are very excited to show you guys. And I think this would open a new horizon to all of the gaming creators. I'm personally very excited about Raycast. I know in previous office hours, we had a lot of questions about like, how do you detect 3D collision if something has hit something? Or how do you point your phone towards an enemy and kind of shoot it or create like those kind of games. But now that all of these new features has launched, I feel like it's going to be a little easier for us to do that, and I am super glad to introduce. Um, okay, I have a question now for Mingus. Let me change the screen so that it is Mingus's screen. Mingus, can you
Hey
open
everyone,
Effect
there's
House
some
for us?
technical difficulties. I know I am up. Weston and I can hear each other. I can't hear Celine. But I see in the chat it's my turn, so I will take over. What's up, everyone? I hope you enjoyed Weston's presentation. I will be answering any questions you have about 270, which is slowly rolling out to all of you. If you have follow-up questions to that presentation, feel free to throw them in the chat. And Weston will hopefully hold my hand as I walk through some of the physics features if you have physics questions. I see a question. I'd love some advice on how to change skin color to achieve a tanned look. So we will caution you, we don't allow users to drastically change the skin color for if you did want to add a slight makeup effect, you would use this here. It's called Face Mask. You could also use 3D Face if you wanted, but Face Mask is here. And you'll see you can apply any image you want to your face mask texture, and then you can play around with the opacity. So on our website, we have learning resources online. You can download a template that will be this same person. We have a few other models in there as well. And then you can draw your makeup look on this person, import it from your computer as an image, and then you can drop it right in here and it will smack dab on your face. Hopefully that was helpful. And we also have a bunch of other makeup features. You'll see here we have eye makeup, eyelash makeup, lip makeup. So if I wanted to give myself some red lips, you can see how easy I can do that with one click. I see, the segmentation isn't very smooth. I'm struggling with the neck area. Any tips on skin segmentation? Cool. So we don't have skin segmentation in the tool at the moment. We do have portrait segmentation, which is right here. And you'll see it segments me out. And then we also have hair segmentation and clothing segmentation. So hair segmentation is going to segment your hair, and clothing segmentation is going to segment your clothing. What you're going to want to do is combine these three, and I can explain in detail in the Discord after how to do this. But you'll see by blocking my hair and blocking my clothes, I've kind of isolated at least my head and my arms. So that is kind of how you would want to combine portrait segmentation, hair segmentation, and clothing segmentation to do that. I have a question. How to deal with collision tunneling? Weston, do you understand collision tunneling? That might be over my head.
So collision tunneling is when some contacts of the collisions or the collision events might be missed because the physics engine might not. It might happen so fast, or the objects might not be colliding perfectly. So I think there are some strategies depending on. It really depends on the kind of effect you want to make. But I'd say that the best way to do that is you can make sure that the rigid bodies are big enough to be detected by the colliders, and that you are appropriately applying forces and dampening and whatnot to make sure that the collision events are working.
Cool. Thank you, Weston. Weston is the voice in my head. This is the part. I see some questions asking to demo collision and raycasting. This is all pretty much as new to me as it is to you all, but with the help of Weston, let's see what we can do. So let me add some objects that we will make collide. Weston, feel free to cut me off if you ever see me doing bad practices. I will add a sphere. I will add a cube. I will move the cube down. I will scale it up. And then to the cube, I'm going to add a component. I'm going to go to 3D physics, and I'm going to add a box collider. So that will, as you can see with this little green line, add a collider. And then I will also select the sphere, and I will add both a rigid body component, which is here, as well as a sphere collider, which is here. And now you should see, hopefully, cool. So when I refresh it, because I've added the rigid body, that sphere now has gravity applied to it. And then because it has a rigid body, or because it has colliders and the cube has colliders, they are going to collide. Now, let's see if I can figure out how to detect when they collide. So we're going to use our collision event node. Yes, Weston?
Yes, that's right.
Great, thank you. We are going to start this node on start. The collider component we are going to use is the key, either or, maybe, Weston?
Yeah, you can do, well, it depends what kind of effect you want to make. Maybe we can make the ball.
Great. I'm just going to detect when, let's go slow. I'm going to detect when the ball hits the cube. And then we're going to do on enter. So that should be, from my understanding, the frame that it first contacts the cube. Cool. And then this should send out a trigger when they collide, correct?
Yeah, that's right. On the collision enter, it will set out a trigger.
What am I doing wrong here?
Oh, let's take a look. It's hard to see your screen. Okay. Maybe you'll have to. I think you have to do on update. Collision event should be on update. It's only running once.
Oh, okay. Let's see if this works, team. What am I doing wrong now?
Sphere trans. Is that the collider component? So go to the
Do I need to select
go to the sphere and make sure you're getting the sphere
the
collider.
collider?
No, that's the object. That's the scene object. There, perfect.
This?
Yes.
And then this? That's the object, right?
That should be the component on the object, the sphere collider. I prefer using pin to graph. You can do sphere collider and then get pin and then pin to graph.
This.
You see that?
Yeah. All right, team. We've learned together. So, to do basic collision detection, and thank you to the voice of Weston in my ear. As you can see, it was much easier for me to pull the collider that I want to work with right here. So get sphere collider. I'm going to plug it into the collision event. And then you can either do on enter, so that's the second or the frame that they collide. You can do stay, and that should trigger the next node as long as they are colliding. So in this case, I assume it would be sending out a constant pulse now. And then on exit, and that's when the collision stops. Thank you for the support, Brett. As you all know, we have lots of features coming my way, and it's always, I'm learning with you all, a lot of them. And then, as you see, you can trigger whatever you want on the collision. I just did an if node for the sake of this demo. Yes, I love the support chat. Now, I saw there was a question about raycasting. That's going to be real fun if we do that with Weston in my ear. Let me see if there's any. Let me scroll through the chat real quick and see if there's any simpler questions I can get to before maybe we close it out with raycasting demo. And Weston is in the Discord, and we can post some demo videos on our site about all of this soon, hopefully. Let's see what else we got. Raycasting. Can you understand real? Okay, we got a lot of raycasting questions. Is there a recommended limit of how many objects? Did you respond that, Weston? Is there a recommended limit of how many objects we can apply physics to ensure the effect is still performant in most devices?
It really depends on the use case of the effect or what you're trying to make, and depending on also other things like the visual fidelity of the effect. If you're using multiple materials or different shaders, a lot can go into physics performance or effect performance. But I recommend. I generally think if you can make an effect that uses less rigid bodies than more, it's better.
I can chime in too. I know it's a pain point for you all to kind of have to guess and check with QA, and we are working to hopefully give you a little more information in the tool down the road. But yeah, as Weston said, use your discretion based on other features you currently have, and then you'll have to find out, unfortunately, right now, just through submission, whether it's going to pass or not. I see someone asking, should we just use this for 3D objects, or does this now kind of replace August's collision detection microjams or subgraph that's more for 2D collisions? So Weston, would you recommend people use this for 2D objects? And I mean, by 2D objects, I think we mean images primarily.
Yeah, I think so. Rigid bodies and all 3D physics components work on all features that are in the 3D space. That includes like the image component and whatnot. So I definitely think that I don't want August subgraphs to go out of business, but I think that we can definitely that the collision event node will simplify this process a lot.
Cool. Okay, people want raycast. How to use raycast node for an object tap selection. Weston, you ready?
All right, let's do it, Mingus. This is going to be fun. So the first thing
everyone
you need to do is
watch Mingus learn.
Okay, here we go. This will be fun.
We're gonna clean this up. And we're going to
All
also
right.
get rid of these segmentations. Best practice, keep those project files clean. So we've added our beautiful Raycast node. Now, what do we want to be shooting array, Weston?
So the first thing I think you should do is set up your scene to make it ready for raycasting. So you can add a few objects to the scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some sort of raycast object picker. So go ahead and set up your scene with a few cubes and spheres and basic objects, and make sure those spheres and cubes have colliders on them.
Cool. I can do that. There's a cube. Let's duplicate our cube. Cool, and move it over. We are then going to add a component or box collider to this one. We're going to add a box collider, and to this one, we're going to add a sphere collider. Shabam. Let me move them all back maybe a little bit. Cool. How's that looking, Weston?
That looks good. That looks good, Mingus. Okay. So now we need one more object, which is going to be, I call it the indicator. This is going to be the object that actually moves around when you click. So go ahead and make maybe a sphere, and then rename that to indicator, just so we remind ourselves.
Indicator. I don't know if that's O-R-E-R. Feel free to let me know in the chat.
Great. So next, we want to perform a raycast. So we want this raycast to happen when the video creator taps the screen. So let's go ahead and make a raycast node and a screen tap node and connect those two.
We've got our raycast. We've got our screen tap. We're going to plug them together.
Yep, plug that in right there.
Boom.
Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of math. So this part, I won't go too deep in, but we need to get the screen position to the world position. We have a node that does that. So go ahead and from the screen tap, you can drag out of position vec2, screen to world.
Boom. Here?
Yes, perfect. So now let's give the screen to world the camera. So you can go ahead and drag from your hierarchy the camera and plug that right into our...
we need our component, I think.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the component. You're right. Good catch.
Thank you. Thank you for testing me on that. Okay,
and make sure that let's set that Z depth to 100.
Cool.
Okay, so now this is the part where you'll just have to trust me a little. So let's drag out that world position and let's get a subtract node.
What are we subtracting by?
So now we're doing a little bit of quaternion, where we want to shoot a laser from the point of on the screen to the actual direction that that you want. So go ahead and subtract. So A should be world position vec3, which you already have. Okay. I want you to subtract the position of the camera.
Got it. We're gonna do get world trend. Like, are we gonna use the get world transform info for the camera?
No, you can go to the camera and just get.
Oh, we're just gonna get here.
Yep.
Okay. Boom.
Boom. Now go ahead and collect from subtract. Go to direction.
Boom.
Okay. So now we have calculated the direction of the raycast in 3D space, but we need a few other things. We need the origin. The origin's easy. It's going from the camera to the scene object. So you can also use the position camera that you already have and just put that right in the origin. Okay, great. In my opinion, we've already done the hard part, but we have a few more things to do. We actually have to we have to show it visually. So now from the next node, you can say if.
We're doing if it's hit, something's going to happen.
So if the ray hit, Boolean is hit, so you can attach that condition.
Here, boom.
Yep. Perfect. Now, if that happens, you're going to set the position of the indicator. So now go ahead and click on your indicator and click get the set position like you did for the camera. That's great.
Did that.
We have a question from the chat. They said, is that 100 on Z depth equal the far frustum of the camera or an arbitrary number so it's above 0?
Sorry, Mingus. Celine asked a question. So the Z depth is the information of each object's distance from the camera's current view. I think 100 is good for now, but if you have a bigger scene, you might want to expand that Z depth. But I think 100 is good for our use case right now. Okay, great. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on. So we have so now we need to get information about where the ray hit, right?
Okay.
So we can go to the hit info array, and we can get an item from the array.
What do we put in here? This one.
And yes,
index
that's
number?
right.
Cool.
Index 0 is fine, and now use array hit info.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get the hit point in a vector 3 and plug that into the position vector, or plug that into the position.
I need to.
You need to get ray hit info. So use the ray hit info.
Boom! There's that other node.
Yep.
And now we are going to pull the hit point.
Yep, that's right.
And put it in our indicator.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a false set or no?
Nope, that should be fine. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's how it's
I'm just tapping the screen.
Yeah, make sure it has to hit something. So click on, make sure you.
Whoa!
There you go. So now you've created a object picker using Raycast. Congratulations, Mingus. That was record time.
Congratulations, you, Weston. So for those who can see, if I click away from the objects, you'll see that the indicator isn't doing anything. If I click here or on the cube or on this cube, you'll see that the indicator will move to where it's colliding. But if I click in between them, nothing. This is the setup. If you want to take a screenshot, now's the time. 1 second. Feel free, take a screenshot if anyone wants to recreate this at home. I, too, have learned now how this node works with the rest of you. The reason Weston didn't just show that, I'm the screen sharer today. I've got the tool open, so we thought it'd be fun to do a little Weston's voice, my hands. I hope you all enjoyed that. There's obviously so much more you can do with raycasting, and hopefully Weston and I and others can help share resources online and in our Discord of all the fun different ways to use this. And obviously, if some of you come from game dev backgrounds, you already know a lot of the fun ways to use this. Are there any other questions? And if Celine, you start talking, Weston, you're going to have to let me know.
Okay.
I saw Brett
asked
said,
the question, and that
depth
Z
is limiting the ray
depth
distance.
is limiting the ray distance.
This one, Weston.
Sure. It's not limiting the ray distance, but it's limiting the distance that the screen to world operation is being done on. So screen to world is doing its own sort of distance check. So if an object is not within the 100 of the Z depth, then it won't even be able to compute with that node. So you would run into an error.
And I'm going to go out on a limb. And Weston, is this the distance the ray will shoot?
Yes. So a ray has a origin, a direction, and a length. So the length is that, which defaults to 9999. But to actually detect if the collision or if a valid screen position is pressed, we need to have the screen to world Z depth higher.
Cool. And then last question before we jump, because I know we've wrapped up. I see, will this work with AR camera and AR plane? Like if objects are in AR space, world space, will this work with them?
Yeah, this will work with all objects that operate within 3D.
You heard it here first, 3D objects, it will work. Will we add more notes into the learning resources or into the learning session on physics as currently? Yes, we are populating resources as we speak. A lot more resources will be coming for all of these new nodes and physics in general. So stay tuned. I'm going to pass it back to Celine as we got to go. Take it away, Celine. I can't hear you, but I'm sure what you're saying is mwah.
Thank you, Mingus. Even though we're facing technical difficulty, I think everything is going super well. Before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to let you know that 2.7.0 also has user inputted media, aka known as green screen. So now you can finally, users can finally upload their own images from their camera roll to Effect House. And I think it supports multiple images as well. So if they wanted to if you're holding up a paper and you wanted to change whatever is on the paper, now you can do that. I know this has been a highly requested feature, and we are so glad we are able to bring this to you. So let me know what you guys think. Oh, everybody's loving this. Adi is saying, thank you for this update. It's like Christmas. So hyped for this. Cal says, whoop whoop. I can't wait for the new stuff. Cal says, thank you. Super excited about the new physics capability. Speaking of, we have a poll going on. What is your favorite 2.7.0 physics node? And collision event is taking the lead with 80% votes. This is crazy. I thought there were so many Raycast questions that I thought Raycast was going to be a definite number one, but everybody, 80% of you, all love collision event. So I'm super excited that we could show those to you. Let me see if Mingus can also show you an example of how to use the green screen node. Okay. Mingus, can you demo to us the green screen node? I think this will be our last question of the day. But if you guys want to learn more about physics and see Weston, we will definitely have him online again because he is our wonderful, wonderful physics expert. So very excited. Let's do another physics section. Addie
Mingus, you
says,
can show the green screen image upload if you'd like.
Oh, we're okay. We're not signing off. We're back. Thanks, Leston. Yeah, I can show some user media textures. Um, we're back, everyone. And if you go to your add assets textures, you will see we have user media texture. If I click that, you will see it as a user media texture. If I go to something like segmentation and add portrait segmentation, you will see that I can then go to my background. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. I'm seeing Weston's going, but I assume I'm staying. And there you can add user media texture. What that's going to do, let me hide these spheres. What that's going to do is, so you'll now see there's this placeholder image behind me, just like the TikTok app. And when this is previewed on the phone, there'll be an image picker, and that will show the effect user all their photos, and then obviously they can swap out this green texture with a photo from their camera roll. You can also, if you don't want it to be this green checkered as your placeholder, if you click user media texture, you'll see you can swap out the default that's user media texture, for any image you want. So you can add up to 8 of these in an effect, right? And you can add them to spheres. So if I add a 3D sphere, or let me just turn this back on for a second, you can add a material, a standard PBR. I can then add a second user media texture. And if I go to the standard PBR and I turn on a texture, I can add my second user media texture there. And then if I apply that to a sphere, you'll see this sphere now has a second user media texture. So now if I previewed this, I would select 2 images, 1 and 2. I would apply the first to this one, the second to this one. And you can do this up to 8 times. You can do this on a face mask, eyes, hair, segmentation, whatever you want, you can apply user media texture to. Anything that has the texture slot. Very quickly, we also have a user media info node. So if I was to plug this user media texture into this node would then output what order this user media texture was selected. So was it selected first or second by the user? Is it uploaded? So that's a yes or no Boolean. And then what's the image resolution of the photo they added from their camera roll? So at times, if you want two images to stay butt up to each other, you're going to need to use this node. So you adjust the spacing of the images based on the image resolution of the photos they uploaded. That's a very quick rundown of user media texture, but in short, you access it here, you apply it to any texture slot you want. You can even, it works with face fusion, it works with all sorts of things. Is there a limit to how many images I upload? Mainly concerned about passing QA. Again, I don't know the max of face fusion images. I would recommend just, doing what you want and then seeing if it passes QA and then scaling it down from there. As I said earlier, we are working on adding some more information in the tool so you don't have to always kind of guess and check. But for now, there's not a definite answer really that I can give on feature usage. It all depends on what it's combined with, the resolution of the images, what else is going on in the effect. But yeah, for green screen, that's my rundown. I gotta jump. Celine, I will pass it back to you. Nice to see you all. See you in the Discord. See you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming today. As always, it was so lovely having all of you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you have any more questions that you want to ask us, please leave it in our forum, and we'll get to those next time. And if you want more physics effect office hours, please leave it in the chat right now so we can see how many people are wanting physics office hours. And also, Thomas, I saw that you just joined. I'm so sad, but it was nice to see all of you. See you guys again in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone. Bye.